We are live. Welcome to my video. This is going to be my thoughts on Andor, Season 2, Episode 9. Welcome to the Rebellion. I believe the episode is rated 12 plus or thereabouts, so this video be. Like all of the videos I've done on the show so far, absolutely love this episode. There will be spoilers for the episode as well as everything Star Wars leading up to it. Let's dive right in. So, yeah, another incredibly tense. You know, they've done a really good job. Let's see, this is the third of the 4 times this season is going to, this final season. I'm going to miss this show, but I do really appreciate saying, you know, no, we're going to tell the story we have to tell. We're not going to drag it out forever. Yeah, these finales, you know, like the first season also sometimes did the 3 episodes make an arc kind of thing, but yeah, it works really well in both of these when they end an arc and just, yeah. Okay, so I guess I'll just briefly cover. There's not a lot to say about Bix. I thought they did a really great job. Like, you know, Andor, Cass can tell where her head's at. He's just not willing to go there himself, you know. So yeah, she has to leave so that he won't abandon the rebellion for her. And, you know, great intercutting. I love when filmmakers are this willing and capable of effectively cutting between time and space, because like we see him wake up, then we start to hear the voiceover, her voice in it, and we see him sit down with it, and we see him running to stop her from getting on the transport, and we see her recording it, we see him watching it, and the whole thing, and then, you know, yeah, and then it cuts back, and we see him reacting to it before he ran to see, or I guess it's possible that that's actually like him watching it a second time after realizing that she's gone, possibly, but yeah, what's the word? Yeah, just really effective, you know. And yeah, he ends up, you know, he asks, where the transport's going out. Everyone who's leaving the planet left this morning. You know, there is literally no way. He's not going to get to do the dramatic romantic comedy move of stopping them before they get on the transport out of there. And yeah, the thing, the KX droid, we got it. We're about to turn it on, you know, and yeah, that was a great, you know, the movements that it makes. It is like it wants to break free, and it's in pain, and, you know, understandably, it was cut in half. You know, it might have memory of that, you know, and its brain and body are trying to figure out what happened. How are we in one piece again, you know? If I've offended you, I'm sorry. If not, I'd rather you point that thing somewhere else. Just, yeah, wonderful little, yeah. I kind of like the engineer being like, you know, the coders only did some of the work. I did most of it. I just get no credit at all. No regard, no respect, no esteem. And yeah, I think everything else is basically Mon and related. Always love seeing Clea. Did she do something to her hair? See, it's funny because this time she actually did, you know, but yeah. The thing about, you know, Luthen has to stay at the gallery because if Mon is caught, you know, like, everybody breaks under Imperial torture. We know this to be true. They have to, what's the word? He has to be ready at the gallery to get rid of the stuff that could lead to Yavin and other, you know, let's see, I think, yeah, Cass talking to Clea, and yeah, I mean, throughout the episode, he is trying to quit, and, you know, the others won't let him for good reason. And I love the exchange. I have to make my own choices. And the response, isn't that what we're fighting for? Let's see. right, and the reveal, they did manage to get off Gorman, but injuries and needs a doctor. Get him a doctor to nurse him back to health. And I think that might be about, obviously I'm going to talk about Mon at the actual Senate, the centerpiece of the episode. I just want to make sure everything else is covered first. Great with the thing with, you shouldn't talk in here. Go to the plaza, clear your mind. And then Luthen walks up, and it's like, he knew Luthen would. Let's see. He either knew Luthen would be there, or as soon as she walked out the door, he contacted Luthen with an emergency. You gotta talk to her, But yeah, it is not random that he struts up wearing that cape. Like, I'm sorry, there are a lot of things I agree with Edna Mode on, but no capes is not one of them. More politicians should wear capes. That would, let's see, and just such a great conversation, and this thing of, your aide from Gorman, he works for me, and her going back and saying, I have never felt so betrayed, and I do have experience being betrayed, and she feels like she can't trust him, understandable, and it's been 2 years since the wedding that he's been working for Luthen, and protected her in ways she'll never know. How cryptic. Okay, so the whole the Senate tension suspense really does start with the finding of the bug and the crushing of it, which we're gonna understand why she does it, but it's also gonna attract attention. Immediately they're like, that's odd, and check and can confirm it's not on our end. And it calls the supervisor, because the driver has also been saying things. So just really good that she did not ask for another driver, because they might send a smart one and they might not have been able to get away in this episode. And I think some people might say, oh, well, we know both Mon and Cass survived this episode, so where's the tension? Well, it's clearly a very scary situation for her. This is the first time she's seeing people shot up close. Like, she's always wanted, less violence whenever possible, whenever unjust, but and the what's the word? We're seeing her get to the point where she is in Return of the Jedi, and also, Rogue One set before that, but let's see, I think that does get us to the Senate. So, it is scarily prescient. Trump is talking about arresting his political opponents. If they run a sanctuary city, they should be arrested, and this episode underlines, that's fascism, arresting your political opponents. We see it with Oran, I think his name is, and he points out, no charge, no crime. I am a senator. I have a right to be in the Senate. I'm not trespassing. Okay, so let's see. Luthen explains about how the ones who are to take her to Yavin that work for yeah, yeah. Leia's adoptive father, I forget his name right now. He's still doing great, by the way. Acting, everyone on the show does, but yeah, the what's the word? The you have the yeah, you have the thing about, oh, it's, that group is compromised, and it's such a great, because like at first we don't know exactly, is that one or is it all three? Because we see three of them meet, and we realize over the course of the episode, oh, it really was just that one, and that was also such a great, because like there's the thing about, we can get past the scanners fine, but they check for weapons, and then we see she had a weapon. The ISB, made sure she could get in with a weapon, so when the guy, he goes for a weapon, she shoots him. It also, I think it's maybe also in part the fact that he realized she was contacting someone, but yeah, that means, and then she goes to the other one and says, I don't know, he left, he told me that he would meet you, and it's like, I mean, it's possible the other one would be like, that doesn't make sense, but it's also like, yeah, maybe he got caught by an Imperial, that they're it makes a lot of sense for that to have been the case. And yeah, now, there's two of them. One of them's Imperial, and only that one has a weapon. So that, drastically decreases the chances they'll be able to stop her. Yeah, okay, so I guess I'll talk, yeah, let's see, okay, so yeah, she, goes in there and is ready to deliver a speech, and you have the thing about, oh, the Imperial suck-up with, oh, why didn't we see this coming? Like, he's basically saying, we have to be tougher in the future. This genocide is not good enough. We're going to have to, all these poor Imperials who were killed, just, unbelievable. And there are people like that. There are politicians right now talking that way about actual, it's just, yeah. Okay, yeah. She's getting ready to deliver the speech, and then, one of the senators is like, okay, I yield a minute of my time to, Bail Organa, that's his name. And Organa then says, I invoke, this thing, and as you well know, that means I can bring in any senator, something like that, So I'd like to, hand over the floor to the senator from, was it from Chandrilla? I think he referred to her as, and just holy crap. And the thing with, okay, so the bug is definitely, the agent, we lost contact, but now she's back. I need instructions, and the other guy, Guja, yeah, and he's like, we got to cut the feed, and he's like running down, trying to open the door. He's like, it's, why can't I get in? And the technicians, it's not confirmed. Were they supposed to also be like rebellion? Because like, I don't know, I just got kind of a vibe off them where it seemed like they were possibly in on it, and you knew that it would be important to prevent the Empire from stopping the broadcast, and yeah, yeah, ultimately he does manage to turn it off, but only after she's delivered her entire speech. Like, it might actually make it slightly worse for the Empire, because now no one hears the booing that followed. Like they heard some booing during some parts of the speech, but yeah. Let's see, yeah. Right, so the Dynamite speech, I love that we're at a place now where we can have someone deliver a speech like that, and we don't have to rest the camera on them the whole time. Because, like, some of the time, I think when it mattered, they showed her face. Jenny O'Reilly still amazing, acting. But yeah, every so often we're hearing it as someone is running down a hallway or that sort of thing, and yeah, she delivers the speech, and knows that, okay, this is it, got to get out of here. And that was also great. Bail Organa did really come through for her. He made sure that she was able to speak, even though they said, oh, no, the schedule's been locked in. No one is going to speak for Gormans, or the Gore, yeah, the planet Gorman, the people Gore, and yeah, she's getting out of there, and at first she thinks that Cass is just a really pushy reporter, is like, I'm not really ready to make a statement right now. That's not her exact words, but she doesn't realize that this is someone from the rebellion, and yeah, she doesn't actually say the she was supposed to start the code phrase, but he finishes it regardless, knowing that, yeah, and you see her face, oh, okay, gotcha, and yeah, get her out of there. And the press, and it's like, it's possible that there's at least one of them that is like sympathetic to Gorman, but this is not the best time for an interview, not even a quote, so just, yeah. And yeah, he pushes past several of them, but unfortunately, I think her name is Varva, the ISB, yeah, she gets out her gun. This is a legitimate ISB arrest. I guess they haven't started doing the illegitimate ones yet, but and the guy who thought that she was cool, man, yeah, it's also like shocked. And you have the Mon's aide, whose name escapes me, the Gorman, the Gore, and there's a little thing of like, so he's pointing his gun at her, and somewhere the Emperor's like, stop pointing that gun at my Varva, and yeah, he's like, she's ISB or something, and she like turns to point her gun at him, because she has no idea that Cass is armed, much like rebellion, all this stuff, so he raises his gun, shoots, several really cool, on this show recently, where someone will, yeah, hide a gun and then quickly get the, yeah, let's see, yeah, very clever to slightly change her clothes around. The cape kind of thing she has comes off, and then he puts his jacket on her, and he points out, don't run. And I appreciate each time that she sees someone shot, she's like shocked. It is still so new to her. I mean, I don't know, I guess it's possible it would still upset her later in the timeline as well, but I just think it's effective to show this. Like, there's a lot of characters on this show, when they shoot someone or see someone shot, it's like, we've seen this before. They're very hardened, and she's, at the end of the day, a senator. She hasn't been that close to a lot of this stuff yet, and that's changing now. She's going to be on Yavin, we know. So yeah, let's see, I think that, yeah, so tense when the stormtroopers are running. I'm so glad that they're cool again, that they're not punchline anymore, because there's only 8 of them. Like, we've seen heroes in other Star Wars stories take out that many with ease, but it's just Cass. So just, yeah, and the so clever with the thing with the driver. I think his name was Class. Let's go with that. He's ISB. Screw him. Or it works for the Empire. Whatever. Yeah. She goes. Oh, that's my driver. What's his name? Class. Class. We got her. Because Class at that point, like, his mind is going, oh, this is another Imperial. Haven't seen him before. Usually meet these guys before we do something this important. So he's like, who are you? Instead of being like, you know, let her go, because like if he realizes that this is someone from the rebellion, so it's just such a clever, yeah, just mind games, you know. And yeah, that gives Cass time to raise his gun and shoot. Let's see, then we have, what was the other word, the yeah, you know, gets her into the car, goes up into the air, and manages to, yeah, let's see, the yeah, some good stuff when they're inside the old apartment that, you know, Cass points out, yeah, used to live here. Right, I like the casual way he's like, oh, there's a KX droid in the back. I think we got all of it. You know, it's just like, yeah, because it's like, it's extremely useful for their purposes. Yeah. Right, that brings us to, I just gotta talk a little bit more about her speech. Like, holy crap, the thing about, you know, the monster. I love that we hear a little bit of it, you know, when she's pacing at the plaza. Placing. Yeah, the you know, the thing about, you know, the monster. Yeah, and later we hear her identify the monster. And also the thing about, you know, the truth has been exiled from the Senate floor, you know, and yeah, it is such a, again, such a devastating, and I guess, let's see, is that press, because that's been going on for a while now in American politics, certainly, that you're not really encouraged, sometimes not even allowed, to say the truth in the Senate or Congress. But yeah, you know, yeah, that is again part of fascism. The politicians are not, you know, the truth in general, not just politicians, but yeah, the truth becomes something to avoid. Yeah, she straight up comes out right out and says, you know, the greatest monster here is Emperor Palpatine. Holy crap, just, yeah. Which again, you know, like, in today in America, it's not enough to identify Trump and other Republicans as the main problem, even though they are. But, you know, ultimately the show is set under fascism, and there it is, you know, yeah, that is a very necessary first step. And the fact that everyone was able to hear this whole thing, you know, yeah, like, they said in an earlier episode this season, we need an army. And yeah, this is going to increase, you know, they're going to be able to recruit a lot of fighters. And that is what they need right now. It's not, you know, she can't pass a law that's going to limit his powers or something. But yeah, a fiery speech, you know, like, it's been crucial to various revolutions around the world in the real world. So yeah, and the let's see, what was the other thing? There was definitely some other thing I really wanted to say. Maybe that was everything. Right, yeah, the thing with, you know, should we evacuate? No, lock down the building. And we hear that, and it's like, oh no, there's no way they're getting out of there if the building is locked down, you know. And yes, again, I realize, you know, we know one way or another they're going to get away, but still. Let's see. Yeah, I think that might be it for this one. Haven't had a chance to watch the videos. Let's see, I think both, let's see, Council of Geeks and Jesse Gender, I believe both of them have made videos on these 3 episodes. I'm going to watch them, probably going to start watching them as soon as I hit stop on the broadcast for this video. But yeah, they're probably good. They almost always are. Right. I gotta say, so they're at the start of this episode when Cass is talking about quitting. I think the way Clea responds, I think all of us at one point or another need Clea in our lives. You know, maybe just like a voice in the back of our mind, so that, you know, the next time that I think to myself, what a wonderful world, I have an early day tomorrow, but, you know, even so, I'm gonna stay up kind of late. My inner Clea voice would put a piece of metal down to make it clank, scoff, and say, "Are you